The brand new third generation 2023 Prius Prime tosses out Toyota's conservative playbook in favor of something with more spice and better tech. This is by far the best looking Prius ever made. I think that's pretty much beyond debate. So the real question is, did the rest of the car advance as much as the styling? That's what we're going to find out this week on EV Rider. This EV Rider episode is a co-production with AutomotiveAddicts.com. AutomotiveAddicts.com offers expert reviews and industry news. Now, the Prius Prime feels much more sporty than the old generations of Prius did. I don't mean to imply it's a sports car, but it does handle very nicely. It takes the corners well. Now, I'm not actually driving it at the limit, nor will I be during this road test, because really, let's face it, that's not the mission of a Prius. But it's not the dowdy old appliance that it used to be. Now, when you've got the Prius in its auto mode, where you allow it to choose whether it's going to be all electric, gas, or a combination thereof, I will say too that Toyota has refined the feeling when you switch from electric to gas. So I'm going to go ahead and floor it just for a second. And you can hear that gasoline engine kick in, but it's smoother than I remember with our old 2006 Prius. Perhaps the most enjoyable aspect of the Prius Prime as compared to some hybrids is it does allow you to stay in a pure EV mode. Some hybrids, they'll stay in EV as long as you go light on the accelerator pedal. But once you floor it, they'll put both powertrains in unison to give you that extra oomph. And the Prime will allow you to do that as well. But what's nice about it is it does give you, the driver, the option to stay in pure EV mode regardless of where you've got that accelerator pedal. The Prius Prime comes with a 13.6 kilowatt hour battery. The base SE trim is good for 44 miles of EV only driving. That's according to Toyota. Now our top trim, XSE, is rated for 39 miles of EV only driving, and that's because of the larger tires. That's a 76% jump in all-electric range over the previous generation, according to Toyota. Now, the EPA's estimated range for the Prius Prime wasn't available yet at the time of this video's recording, but Toyota anticipates it will receive a 127 miles per gallon equivalent rating in combined driving when in EV-only mode. It has a 10.6 gallon tank that Toyota estimates is good for 555 miles of combined gas and electric range in our XSE Trim Prime. Now, we talked about the EPA rating in EV-only mode, but believe me, this car is no slouch either when it comes to being a pure hybrid. If you were to choose to just drive it in hybrid mode, according to Toyota, you can expect about 50 miles per gallon. And based on my time with it, that seems about right. Even better, Toyota offers a solar roof option. During our day with the car, we regularly got more than an estimated 100 watts of power per hour from the roof during partly cloudy conditions from the 185 watt panels. On a perfectly sunny Los Angeles day, Motor Trend generated just under a kilowatt of solar energy over 8 hours, good for about 4 miles of range, according to the car's readout. Now, the solar roof is only available on the top trim XSE, and the option costs $610. The latest Prius Prime is so far ahead of the old cars in a lot of different ways, and one of them is regen. I'm glad to see that Toyota has given this car, even though it's not a full EV, 3 different levels of regen. All you got to do is go ahead and shift from drive to B for brake, and it will go to whatever preset level of regen you've given it. AutomotiveAddicts.com publisher Malcolm Hogan says, outside of the Kia Niro, the Prius Prime doesn't face much direct competition.
The Prius Prime is almost in a category by itself. You know, you have a few competitors out there in the SUV realm. You know, a lot of them you start to get into a higher price point than the Prius Prime. You know, Toyota's done well, especially with the performance added to this vehicle. You know, it's nothing like the old Prius. You know, that slow old Prius. It's much, much quicker. I mean, 0 to 60 time is in 6-second range or so. But this is a nice bridge between having a, you know, full-on EV and something you don't have to worry about range anxiety with, you know, having the gas engine as well. So for the first time, I'm actually impressed with a Toyota Prius. I thought I'd never say that ever. You know, the previous generation Priuses were, you know, pretty slow, let's be honest. I mean, this one, it's not a rocket ship, but it just runs rings around the old Prius generations. I mean, 0 to 60 around 6 seconds or so. I mean, it's a much quicker car, and I think that's something people don't expect. You know, I still get people, you know, tailgating me because it is a Prius. They say, oh, you know, it's a slow little Prius, but kind of surprised them a little bit, you know, on the road. So I think with keeping with the tradition of a Prius, it's not expensive. You know, still an affordable car. You're talking, you know, 33 grand or so starting price. This one being the top of the line XSE Premium, you know, you're gonna pay about 42 grand. But you're getting a lot more equipment.
The Prime maintains the traditional Prius hatchback form factor. With the seats folded, cargo volume is 26.7 feet. I find the Prius rear seating area perfectly comfortable. However, I will point out that compared to previous generations, there is less headroom. Now, I'm 5'8", I'm fine, but I could see how somebody, say 5'11" or taller, they might have a problem. They might be butting up against this headliner here. But outside of that, nice and comfortable. For those of you that are coming from a gasoline engine, I really think the Prius Prime is one of the best plug-in hybrid vehicles out there at the moment. In fact, it probably is the best now that the Chevrolet Volt is no longer available, because it gives you a decent amount of range and it allows you to stay in that EV only mode, and the switch over between gas and electric is nice and smooth. There are some plug-in hybrids where you really hear that engine when it kicks in, or you even feel a bit of a jerk. But Toyota's been doing hybrids for a long time. They've got this down to a science, and it really shows with this current generation Prius Prime.
You know, the versatility of having an engine and the electric portion of the vehicle, you know, is a benefit. You know, don't have that range anxiety, you know, and also it's a nice gateway to getting into an EV as well. You know, and eliminating that range anxiety, you still have the best of both worlds in a way. You know, even though the electric portion of the vehicle isn't as robust as a full EV out there, you still have that option. You know, I think you're getting a lot of value for the money.
Yeah, and I do think Toyota's done a great job with this as compared to their previous generations. However, where I would challenge Toyota is that although the Volt has been gone now since 2019, the Volt got more than 50 miles per charge in EV only mode. And here we are in a 2023 model year, and we still haven't broken that with Toyota.
Yeah, that's something I think manufacturers are maybe struggling a little bit with. But granted, this one you can get over 40 miles, you know, electric range if you get these smaller wheels. You know, I realize the 19-inch wheels are very stylish on this one, you know, but it decreases your range to around 39 miles, you know, for a charge. You know, I was able to get maybe around 34 miles, I believe, on my full trip, but I was playing around a little bit with the electric motor, so.
Now, one area where the Prius did miss a prime opportunity comes to its level 2 AC charging. It's got a 3.5 kilowatt outlet. But here's the thing, way back in 2019, its former competitor, the Chevy Volt, had a 6.6 kilowatt charging outlet. It would have been nice to see at least that much, if not more, charging speed with the Prius Prime. Now, I have read a report or two in the automotive magazines that some people reportedly have trouble seeing the entire gauge cluster. Personally, I didn't find that an issue, and the reason being, there's plenty of adjustment in the steering wheel, so I found it very easy to find a comfortable position that gave me a 100% view of the cluster. If anything, I enjoyed its placement because it's up nice and high, so it splits the difference between a traditional gauge cluster and a heads-up display.
The gauge cluster is kind of on the smaller side, so you will not necessarily have trouble reading some of the things, but it takes a while to get used to, you know, some of the smaller dials, the information that you're displayed on here. But in Toyota's tradition, it still provides a lot of hybrid information that's relevant to your drive and making it more efficient.
Wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay are along for the ride on the XSE's 12.3-inch infotainment screen. It also offers the wealth of energy stats that Prius owners have come to expect. Out on the road, R Prime's adaptive cruise control and steering assist worked as expected. Visibility out the back isn't the best, but since R Prime XSE also included the optional flip-on, flip-off rear-view camera mirror, it actually offers much better visibility overall than most cars. You'll find a full list of features in the Prius Prime web story at evrider.tv. If you've enjoyed this road test of the Toyota Prius Prime, please go ahead and give it a like and maybe even set that notification bell, and be sure to subscribe to EV Rider so I can bring you more adventures in EV motoring and more road tests like this one. We'll see you again soon, and thanks so much for watching.